Hey makeup friends, it is time for an update on my project pan, so let's get into this. As always, I want to start off by welcoming you back to the channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and today we're going to be doing an update on my project pan. If you've missed any of the previous updates and you're curious about them, I will link the playlist up here. But we are like 7 months into this now, and it is feeling a little bit like a grind, I will say, but I'm trying to bring in like a weekly makeup basket to round things out a little bit. The upcoming one, spoiler, is going to include like a custom palette that I designed. I did film that. I just have to get my butt in gear in terms of editing everything and getting it all scheduled and posted. See, here's the thing with me. I will go like weeks without filming or without posting, as you may have noticed, and then I get this spurt of energy and I will film like 6 videos and put them all up back to back, and then I have this like dry spell again. So I'm trying to pace myself, but I have a lot of videos filmed. I've been home by myself for the last like 10 days. It's been very quiet. It's been very lovely. I miss my family very, very much, but it's been a nice break. It's been a nice break. Regardless, I have done some filming, but I'm trying to pace myself. But here we are today with the Project Pan update, and I'm going to incorporate a bit of a get ready with me as well, so no more preamble, let's get right into it. Hi, so in an effort to try to make this a little bit more interesting than me just saying, here's my progress, I thought I'd at least show the items in action again. I think it's been a few videos since I did. So I'm only going to show the items that are in the project in use. Anything else like blush, bronzer, that kind of stuff, I will just do off camera for the sake of time. But let's get started. Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter in the shade 2. We are getting right down to the nitty-gritty on this one, my friends. It's actually starting to get to the point where picking the product up is becoming a little bit difficult. The very, very tip of the doe foot has product on it. But other than that, like, we're right down to the nitty-gritty. And I've tried storing it upside down to see if that'll like help, if that makes it any easier, and it really doesn't. I think because the neck of the bottle is so like tall, like you can't wiggle the wand around. It's not flexible enough for that, so I can't scrape anything off the sides, and so I kind of have to screw it back on so that it dips back into that product at the bottom. So, I mean, I find it really hard to anticipate when a product is actually going to finish, but I think we're pretty darn close here, if only from the practical side of things. And it's not like I can like cut the packaging open to get the rest of it out. I guess I could smash the bottle, but that seems like a terrible idea. I don't need any glass in my makeup. So yeah, storing it upside down doesn't really, like, it gets trapped along the edge of it, doesn't really help. So we'll just keep going until I can't get any more product out of it. So I'm just gonna blend that in, and I wish I could tell you what this brush is, because I have actually received quite a few questions about it. There's absolutely no indicator on it as to who made this. And I mean, while the normal consumer probably remembers where they bought their certain makeup items from, not a normal makeup consumer. So I want to say that it's from Juno & Co., but I don't know why I want to say that. I don't know why I want to say that. That's not typically a brand, like I haven't bought much from them. I did try their Velvet Sponge when that came out a few years ago, but I really seem to think that this is where it came from. So maybe check the Juno & Co. website, and if you see something similar, then I was right, and if you don't, then I'm wrong. I don't know. I've got a 50-50 here. I'm very sorry. I have no idea. But brands do not make it easy on us when they don't put any sort of indicator on here as to what it is. So regardless, it blends everything really nicely. Can move on to foundation. So we've got the complexion stick here from Merit, which I have in the shade Linen. And one thing I do find in doing project pans is that when you kind of force yourself to use the same product over and over again, you start to like it more or you really start to hate it. But in this case, I've started to really like it a lot. I still don't like it as a concealer. It's just not enough coverage for me as a concealer. But as an everyday wearing to the office kind of foundation, I really like it. It just offers a tiny bit of coverage, but just enough to sort of even everything out, mask like minor imperfections, and it wears nicely throughout the day as well. I do find, like, for the most part, when a foundation has a lighter coverage, it tends to wear nicer because it's not as obvious when it starts to break down. But my experience with stick foundations in the past has not been super positive. Like, I've found that they can be quite stubborn to blend out. As you can see here, it's really not having, like, I'm not having to work to blend this out at all. And I also find that stick foundations are often very heavy, and this one, again, is not. So I really do like how this one applies and how it wears. And I like it more now than I did at the time that I added it to this project. So I guess in my books, that's a bit of a win, because if I had just left it in the drawer, I probably would have kept overlooking it and eventually decluttered it. So adding it to the project and really sort of drilling down on it has definitely changed my mind on it, and therefore made it a useful item for me to have, which is obviously a good thing. So now that it's blended in, let's take a look at the progress on this thing. There we go. So you'll have to forgive how messy it is, but that stick has actually broken in the packaging, so I'm actually able to lift it right out and lay it on the paper, but obviously that makes it really messy. But you can see very good, very consistent progress. I would estimate at least 2 months until it's completely finished, but it might take a little bit longer than that because I am scheduled for surgery on September 2nd. If you follow me on my other channel, then you're aware I've got my breast reduction and excess skin removal surgery scheduled. We shall see. It may not go forward because our healthcare system is crumbling rapidly here in Ontario, and they may need to postpone it yet again, but currently scheduled for September 2nd. I don't anticipate wearing much makeup for at least 2 weeks after that, so everything here might just grind to a bit of a halt and then pick back up in October, so we shall see. Now I'm going to go ahead and do concealer and all of my face products except for highlighter off camera, and then I will come back and we will take a look at Flexitarian and see where we are with that one. Okay, I'll walk you really quickly through the items that I just applied. So for concealer, I have this one here from Essence. This is the Camouflage Plus Matte Concealer, which I have in the shade Light Honey. And then I set that using a little bit of the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Under Eye Powder. For setting my actual foundation in place, I used the LYS powder in the shade Resilience. And for bronzer, I've got one here from Makeup by Mario. This is Light Medium. And then blush, I used Wild Honey from Becca. So now we are ready to move on. Should we do brows or highlighter first? You know what? Let's get brows out of the way. So I'm going to use the e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil. We'll start just by brushing my brows backwards. And then filling them in. This is in deep brown. I can't remember if I said that or not. So I really am not super precise when I do my brows because they're already mostly like there. It's just sort of filling in some of the gaps and just adding a little bit of the depth to them. Like especially in this area here, it's a little bit more scarce, if you will, but even at that, like if I don't do my brows when I leave the house, like I don't feel naked about it. I don't really care that much. Which is why I tend to prefer like a tinted brow gel, because they certainly need some help in like the control factor, like the control category, not so much in the actual like creation of the brows. And obviously this doesn't have any control added into it at all. So once I've done that, I will brush it through again, and then I'll use a clear brow gel just to set them in place. The number of times I watch videos and I see like some, especially here, there's like a random brow hair that does that, and it drives me nuts while I'm editing. But it's not to the point where I'm gonna like refilm the entire thing. Like, it doesn't bother me that much, but these brows, man, they like to play games. One of which is that they don't closely resemble each other. But that's okay, sisters not twins. And there we go. So again, consistent progress. I'm pleased to see that. I will be very pleased when this is completely done. Like, and there's really not, it's just like a little nubbin. There's really not that much, but of course you're covering like such a small area of the face that it takes for bloody ever. And it's not like I top this up during the day. It's just not my favorite thing. And it's not even necessarily this one in particular. It's just brow pencils in general are just a level of fuckery that I just usually can't be bothered with. But regardless, I have it, so I want to use it up, and we're getting very close. So I'm going to set all this with a little bit, no, we're going to do highlighter. We forgot highlighter. I forgot highlighter. You had nothing to do with that. Okay, Flexitarian from ColourPop. Let's take a look. There is quite a significant difference here, and I am living for it. And yet at the same time, also kind of sad because I love this highlighter so much. This brush I love with this highlighter. This is from Smashbox, and it is the Precise Highlighting Brush. You know, the number of times I've said the name of this, and you'd think I'd remember it because it's really not that difficult, but have to read it every time. So what I like about this is it just picks up the product so nicely, and it just lays it down nice and precisely as the name of the brush would suggest. Now, when I go in first with Flexitarian, she looks a wee bit stark. She brings her A game every time. Don't have to worry about that with this one. But I don't get too head up about blending it out yet because we've got a finishing powder to get to, and that just softens it all up and takes those like really harsh lines out of it. Guerlain Meteorites. Now, I have to admit, I did one of those just to sort of help break it up a little bit. So it is quite powdery in there. I'll insert the picture so you can see the difference. Didn't take any of the balls out. They're just kind of pulverized at this point, but frankly, that makes it a little bit easier to pick it up. So I have no regrets. So to pick it up, I'm going to use this brush here from Dior, which I'm pretty sure is the Backstage Face brush. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's like the only one they have that looks like this. Clearly it gets a lot of use. So I'm just gonna dip in, pick up some of that loose powder, and then tap it off because it picks up quite easily. I've got it there, and then just smear that bad boy around the face. I hope it'll sort of translate on camera. See, it's sort of like softened that harshness there, and then just makes the highlight look so much more natural compared to like harsh line, diffused, and a little bit more soft over here. So I really love finishing powders. I really like this finishing powder, like the Guerlain Meteorites in specific, but I'm not married to this one. There are others that I have as well that are just as nice, so you really don't need to spend a gajillion dollars. It's really just about kind of melding everything together so it doesn't look as much like you've applied makeup. It just looks a little bit more organic, if you will. So there, everything's soft, diffused, blown out. I have an idea of what I want to do for makeup, and I might go in and add a different highlighter on top of this, but we'll see if my plans pan out because sometimes I switch the game strategy midway through, so we shall see. But now I'm going to do the setting with the setting spray. I'm going to prime my eyelids, and then we will be back for eyeshadow. Okay, so I have primed my eyes using the Fenty Pro Filter primer. I have not set them yet, so I am feeling a little bit of tackiness, especially when I like close my eyes. So typically I've been using the cream colored shadow in this palette to set them. It is so close to being done, and we might finish it in this application. So let's see how we get on with that. Now, I am planning on doing a very simple eyeshadow look and then relying heavily on liner. So normally I would not go quite so heavy with the sort of creamish kind of color. I would use a very light dusting to set this, but this is really going to be, if all goes according to plan, the main shadow of this look. So I am going to go a little bit more heavy-handed. Also, secondarily, that's going to help to use it up a little bit faster. I thought we might finish it in this application, but there's just a tiny bit hanging in there. Probably enough for 1 or 2 settings of the lid primer, but not much beyond that. So I'll have to find another shadow or powder to use to set my primer going forward. Actually, I think I have a very good candidate for that. The LYS powder that I used to set my face, I'll quickly show you where that one is at, because there is a giant hole of pan in there. So I might just leave that one out and use that for setting my eyelids as well, because that'll help use it up that much quicker. Okay, so step 1 is done. Step 2, I'm going to, I guess I can show you. So this is the one I just used here. Now I'm going to go in with that cool toned lighter matte shade here and then just use that to build a little bit of definition. And that's basically all I have in mind for eyeshadow for today. I'm just going to run that through the crease. Oh gosh, I hope this mic is not picking up my stomach rumbling. I don't know what that's all about. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit of that same shadow just on the tip of the brush and just run it along like maybe the half of my lower lash line here. I have to go exclusively by feel. If I look down and into the mirror, I will stop myself. That's just the way it goes. That's eyeshadow done, mostly. I'm going to take a large, clean, fluffy brush and just buff those edges out a little bit. So as you can see, good progress on that cream-colored shade. That is going to be done very soon. Most of the other pans are growing though, and that dip in that shade Firecracker, this like bronzy kind of one here, is definitely getting deeper. I don't know that we're going to see pan by the end of August unless I use that one a lot. It is a little bit deeper on my eyes though, so what I have been doing is using that and then layering the pink shade from the Huda Beauty palette on top of it. So I'm kind of getting 2 for 1, more bang for my buck, so to speak. So this shade right here, Pink Diamond. Again, let's take a look at the progress picture on that one. So I had been ignoring that one throughout basically the month of June. Come July, like I said, I have found that layering that on top of that more coppery shade just sort of lightens it up a little bit in tone, makes it a little bit more summer appropriate in my opinion. So that's how I've been using that. But for today, I think we're going to stick with an all matte look and we're going to rely on liner, as I said. So I'm going to bring into play the brown pencil liner that I've been trying to pan as well, but I'm not going to use it on the lower lash line. I often use it along my upper lash line and then really smudge it out. I'm not going to do that either because I want to use a white liquid liner, but I am going to go ahead and sort of tight line along the top lash line just to give a little bit more fullness, or at least the appearance of fullness, to my brows. Typically speaking, my methodology for this is just keep going until I poke myself in the eye, so hopefully I don't do that on camera, but there's a good possibility. There. That's about as much as I'm willing to risk doing. So again, I'll take a quick look at the progress on this, and then I think I will do the liner on camera just so that you can see it, because arguably that's probably going to be the most interesting part about this eye look. So let's just take a look at the progress here first. So there we go. Again, there is a lot of this pencil left. So even though I'm making steady progress on this, and even though it is like fairly nubby at this point, I am not convinced we're going to finish this by the end of the year. not convinced. It's such slow going progress. I mean, it's consistent progress, and that is sort of slow and steady wins the race kind of thing, but I'm not entirely sure it's going to happen by the end of December. We shall see. We're only at the beginning of August, so there's lots of time, but just in looking how long it's taken me to get where I am now, we'll see. Okay, so liner. White is normally not my go-to, and I think that makes it perfect for today then. I've got a little bit of like pearlescent kind of color going on with the earrings, got the all blue. I'm literally not going anywhere, so if it looks crazy, that's okay. It'll just be contained to this video, so let's do this. I have done a video like fully explaining how I do winged liner on my hooded eyes. I will go ahead and stick it up here in case you're curious and missed that one. So I'm not going to talk my way through this, but I am going to show it on camera. So I'm going to shut up now and we'll proceed. So the liner, sorry, before I shut up, the liner is from Dior and it is in the shade Matte White. It's the On Stage liner. In the viewfinder, this looks absolutely insane. It just makes my eyes look like they're drooping down. That's okay. Hopefully mascara is going to help. Regardless, let's go ahead and do lower waterline. So Odin's Eye was kind enough to send me all of their gel liners. So we've got quite the range of colors to choose from. So we've got 7 on top and then 9 on the bottom. So 9 is the one that I'm going to go with. And I'm going to just do the lower waterline, and it always looks really gross, so I'm just going to cut to where it's done. All right, there we go. Lower waterline is done and mascara has been applied. So for that, I used this sample that I have here of the YSL Lash Clash. And I haven't applied this before, and I quite like it. It doesn't take the place of the Bite Beauty Upswing. That is the threshold to which all other mascaras will be compared forever, but very lengthening, very separating. Not particularly volumizing, but actually I think it works with this look. There we go. Not going to pick up any more of that like Guerlain stuff, but just whatever's left over on that Dior brush from earlier. Again, just to sort of diffuse everything. There we go. Now we're ready to move on to lips. So first I'm going to line them with the pencil that I've been working on. This is from Gerard Cosmetics in Sugar and Spice, and it's little wee at this point. It's getting hard to actually sharpen it. This scar from that friggin' cold sore like a month or so ago, oh, it's so bad. So here is where we're at, and I really don't know how much longer it's going to take to finish this, because you don't finish them like entirely right down to the very bottom. There's only so much, and then practically speaking you just can't sharpen it anymore. I'm not quite there yet. Still have some ability to grab it, but this one I feel confident that we will finish before the end of the year. This one I definitely feel confident. What we have finished, though, I may as well throw it in here, are the perfume samples. So there were 5 left over of the 20 that I was trying to pan. They are now all complete, and I'll just briefly walk you through a few of them. I like to highlight either ones that stand out because they're great or ones that stand out because they're not. There are two in here that I actually have in full size because I like them so much. So the first one is Perfect by Marc Jacobs, the intense version. And that one is right here. Now they're not lying when they say intense. This is definitely like a spray and walk into it kind of perfume, but it is beautiful. Can't explain what the notes are, but it smells lovely. And then the other one is Gucci Flora, which is sitting right here. This one is much more easily pulled off than the intense Marc Jacobs one, but I really do like this one. Now there was one in here that I was just not a huge fan of, and that one was from Viktor and Rolf, Liquid Diamonds. It just smelled like perfume, and I know that sounds kind of weird because I'm talking about a perfume, but there's a difference between smelling like vanilla or sandalwood or lilac or something like that and then smelling like perfume. When I say it smells like perfume, I mean like it smells like chemicals, and it most definitely did. Didn't really enjoy it. Definitely not going to be buying it. All right, so before we wrap it up, I am going to just add a lipstick. This one is from Urban Decay in the shade Oat Milk. And this one can be a little light on its own, but that's where that liner really comes into play, just to add a little bit of depth to it. And there we go. There is the finished look, using all of the items in my project pan. What do you think? You like it? Would you wear it? White liner? Yay? Nay? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's definitely different, but I'm enjoying sort of stepping outside of my, what did I call it before? My envelope of comfort. I mentioned that in a previous video, and I was just like, where did I even come up with those words? Like sometimes I say things, I'm like, how did those synapses all fire to combine those words together? Regardless, here we are. So the last thing that I want to do then is just bring in something to replace the perfume samples. I didn't bring anything in to replace items last month, but this month I feel ready to do it, but I'm going to bring in a perfume rather than a makeup item. So I'm going to bring in a roller ball. This one is from, wow. This one is from Guerlain, and it is the Acqua Allegoria Erba Fresca. And I genuinely don't remember buying it, but obviously I did at some point and have not used it very much at all because it's way up here. But it does have a rather summery kind of scent to it. It is a little bit brighter than a lot of the other perfumes that I have, so may as well get some use in it. I may switch it out at the end of August. We shall see. I don't think I'll finish it in a month. I don't tend to touch up my perfume throughout the day or anything of that sort, but at any rate, we will get some use out of it. Don't necessarily need to finish it. I just want to get use out of it. So we'll throw it into the project for now, but it may get bounced out. We shall see. But that is it for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, well, I leave that decision to you. I can't tell you what to do. Okay, thank you, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.